Welcome to the Leadership Spark podcast, where we equip you to be the great leader your people deserve. This is Corey, and we're going to continue talking about delegation. If you've hung out with me the last couple of days, we built the business case, or we built the case for you to lean in and understand the importance for you as a leader and for me as a leader to build and develop the skill of delegation. And so today I want to talk about the 5 levels of delegation. And this is really a framework. It's a way to think through how to effectively progress through delegating something to someone, and how do you match the task and ability with another person's readiness to take it on? Because there's some things that happen whenever we start to delegate that I want to unpack today. But the 5 levels of delegation will help, hopefully, you think about a process that you can move people through from you telling them exactly what to do down to where they take full ownership of the task and you can let it go with confidence. And so a lot of us as leaders, we struggle with either holding on too tightly to work or tasks when we delegate, or we let go too quickly. And both of those can be problems. And so having a framework for us to process through and move a person through as you delegate as well is something that will help us release control, but not do it too quickly to where the person you're delegating to has no shot at being successful. And this concept of the 5 levels of delegation comes from Michael Useem, and he's a professor at the Wharton School. And he came up with this to help leaders move beyond ambiguity, these vague notions of delegate more. And people are telling you as a leader, why don't you just delegate more, to having a concrete way to decide what is the right balance between the autonomy that you give team members and their ability to do what you're asking them to do. And so I want to walk through this 5 level framework, and hopefully this will help give you a structured way to match a task complexity with the skill on the team and the risk with the right level of autonomy that you give, which will allow you to develop skills over time as a leader, the capabilities that your team has to be able to do work, free up your own bandwidth as a leader to do more strategic things or things that maybe are energizing to you, and create some level of accountability while avoiding being the micromanager. You don't want to be the micromanager. So here are the 5 levels in very simple terms. And I want you to think about this as when you delegate, you're going to most likely move people through these 5 levels to ultimately you're able to let go at a level of confidence. And so level 1 is follow exactly. And this is when you delegate and the team or the person does exactly what you tell them to do. They're not really making independent decisions apart from you. This is useful for beginners, people who don't really have a ton of experience doing something, or maybe the risk for the task is very high or the impact is very high. And so you want to tell people this is exactly what you do. Number 2 is recommend, then act. This is where the team proposes a plan that maybe an individual or a team comes to you and you approve it for execution, and they can go off and do it. And so there are things that you delegate because someone brings you an idea and you are approving it and they are executing it. And so you will have someone that does that. Number 3 is you act, then update. This is where the team executes based on their judgment and they keep you informed. And so think about a task is first, maybe you tell people to follow exactly. Then next, they're doing it on their own and proposing a way to do it and you're approving it. To the third being they're out there executing and acting and they're just keeping you updated as a leader on the progress of a task, and they're building confidence and building speed doing it. And then they get to number 4, which is they act within the guardrails that you give them, is that you've set clear boundaries, but the full ownership is with them to be able to go and execute the work. And this is ideal when you're dealing with more experienced people on your team who are more competent maybe to do things faster and take on more ownership. And then number 5 is there's full ownership. This is where the team or a person on your team, they define, they plan, they execute. You check in on outcomes that are coming from their work, but you're not really hands-on or micromanaging at that time. You can fully let it go. And so this is best for people on your team that are highly capable and you really trust them. And you can get everybody on your team to that point, but they're most likely not starting there. And so if you're starting with full ownership, I'm going to delegate something and just give full ownership, then you could run into some problems if the person isn't ready to do it. And so the framework that I just mentioned is not about control. It's about matching autonomy with readiness. How much autonomy can you give people? How ready are they to be able to do the task that you want them to do? And you're evaluating that and figuring out, okay, where are they in those 5 levels whenever I want to delegate them. And if you do this well, it's going to accelerate the growth of your team. It's going to increase engagement. It's going to allow other people and the leader, you, to focus on things that you want to focus on. And so here are some questions that you can ask yourself as a result of this. And then I'll share with some activation tips for you, or go and do tips for you. So 3 questions. At what level am I currently delegating key tasks? So think about the tasks that you're delegating now. At what level of the 5 are you currently doing it? And is it the right one? Are my team members ready to take on more responsibility? Which team members are ready to take on more responsibility? 3rd question, which task could I delegate at level 4 or level 5 this week to grow ownership? Who on your team is ready to have that level of autonomy where you can give it to them and they can take full ownership and just keep you informed as a leader? And so ask yourself those questions. And here are some ideas for go and do's and ways to activate these 5 levels. Is identify one project, one thing that you're doing this week, and decide the appropriate delegation level. So something that you're working on, what can you delegate to someone, and at what level do you need to delegate it? Number 2, you could provide clear expectations, guardrails, and coaching whenever you do that, when you're activating it. So identify one project, who can you delegate it to, what work can you delegate, provide clear expectations, guardrails, and coaching. And then the 3rd is track the team performance and adjust the level of autonomy as the skill grows. And so as you see the skill growing and competence and confidence growing, then you can start to adjust the level of autonomy that you're giving people. And so this is just a framework. It's a filter through which you can think about delegating on your team. So I would encourage you to go and do these things and practice it. And this will help you develop the skill of delegation.